Welcome to The Right Focus, a podcast for writers, newbies, and veterans, and everyone in between. We're hosted by Emma Lee with the assistance of Remy Black and Edie Rooms, all from Writers Inc. Books. Our focus is productivity, process, craft, and tools. Each episode lasts as long as it takes to fix a quick dinner, drive a short commute, or take a brisk walk. Resources and links are in the show notes. Visit us at therightfocus.blogspot.com. Now, on to this week's episode. The Right Focus is currently in the series all about characters, from building and presenting a character to relationships, leadership styles, team roles, and special touches for characters. Avoid creating characters who are stereotypes. Reveal their public and private interiors. Focus on couples, mentors, enemies, and much, much more. The information comes from M.A. Lee's guidebook, Discovering Characters, part of the Discovering series on the writing craft. Link to the guidebooks are in the show notes. Discovering Characters, Introduction. One of the hardest things to do in writing is to create characters that readers will care about, that will make them have to read on. Noah Luke said that. Characters are like houses. No, I'm serious. Characters have an exterior facade that we see and comment upon as we drive past. Through the windows, we catch glimpses of their interior lives. Public masks hide their internal purposes and plans. Even in cookie-cutter boxy cliques, characters have individual characteristics, just as the suburbia ranch houses have their garden plantings and the urban row houses have their painted doorways. These small touches create individual homes in neighborhoods. We can take the character as house metaphor further. Houses have their open spaces and private rooms. They have places designed for particular purposes. The kitchen where savory dishes simmer and sweet treats are baked. The back porch for musing over nothing and gathering with friends. The storage closet where baggage accumulates and never gets sorted and eventually tumbles out when an unwary person opens the door. Characters are rooted in their unseen foundations, formed in the past, then hidden as they build up their education, framework, and their goals, layout. Paint and flooring, cabinets and furniture draw attention away from the cracks in the walls, the nail heads pushing through the drywall, the missed splotches of spaghetti sauce on the kitchen range, and the spider webs and dust bunnies that accumulate no matter how much cleaning occurs. Some characters enjoy the bright city lights. Some are loners, nestled against a national forest. Characters, houses, each have individual personalities. Some are blingy with the latest decor, while others enjoy the comfort of yoga pants and old sneakers. As writers, we capture these individual characters and save them from their cookie-cutter boxy stereotypes. We select their facades to hint at their inner lives. We delve into their interior rooms for glimpses of their formative baggage. Finding their backstory is a search through attics and cellars, storage closets and garages. Characters hide their pains and fears, painting them over and adding distracting artwork. Our job as writers is to find every detail of our characters, then use snippets so our readers will see our characters as they drive through our books. We'll hint at the foundations while opening doors to their plans and purposes. We'll invite readers into the neighborhood of our books, let them view different houses, usher them into the homes of a select few primary characters. We won't take every reader to the attic or leave them stranded as the closet of baggage tumbles upon them. The secondary and tertiary characters from the book's neighborhood will have some houses as open public spaces, while other houses offer the front door welcome mat or a back porch visit. Discovering Characters is designed to help writers Find the exteriors and interiors, the public and the private. We'll dig around the foundations and climb to the roof. We'll explore the open rooms and the storage closets. Not every character in our stories will need full-blown development. The primary characters certainly do. We'll look at various methods to reach the heart of our primaries. Some of the work will fly. Some will require looking into our own hearts and souls. At times the information will appear easy, yet be deceptively simple. Other info will appear complex, yet be easy to grasp. 5 areas comprise discovering characters. Just as characters and houses are individual, this info is individual. We don't need every bit, every time. Dip in and out, skim around. When we reach locked rooms, come back and explore to discover the keys to our own characters. First is starting points, templates, and character interviews. Second, classifications, common and uncommon ways of discovering characters. 3, relationships, couples, teams, allies, enemies, mentors, etc. Fourth, special touches, progressions, transgressions, and transitions for character arcs. 5, significant list, archetypal characters, and much more. There, that seems simple, doesn't it? I've taken you on a tour of the house. Let's start the home inspection. Getting ideas. What's the story you want to tell? What's in your mind? Anything? Everything? Both are terror-inducing problems for writers to have. Let's back way, way up the hill, around the curve, and start at the beginning of the beginning. Stories start in various ways. Countless writing craft seminars and conference panels and online courses will use the classic what if scenario as every writer's starting point. While that is a way, it's not the only way, and it's certainly not the way that many writers begin. What if is not even the true starting point. If we consider a story like a plant, especially one that fruits, then the what if is the moment when the plant pushes through the soil to reach air and sunlight. What if is the vision of the plant's growth as it transforms, enlarges with stems and leaves, even flowers and fruits. Yet through its growth, the plant will remain firmly rooted in the soil. That's where story ideas start. The soil, the dirt, nourishing, rich, filled with all sorts of organisms wiggling through it, including the microscopic cells that enrich the dirt for the planting of seeds. The incipient seed planted in the soil of your mind is not what if. The seed can be a variety of ideas, ever personal, ever burgeoning, ever morphing. Many writers are asked, where do you get your ideas? That question asks for the seminal inspiration that strikes the writer and leads to the idea pushing out of the mind and onto the page. New writers have a constant fear that they will run out of ideas. To answer the question, long-term writers will say one of the following. Long-term writers are the people you want to learn from, the ones who have more than one book in them. And no, it's not the same book written over and over, just changing the character names, jobs, scenarios, while retaining the same personality and reactions. Rant over. Sorry, not. Anyway, they'll say one of the following. The title just came to me. That's what Joe Darnielle came up with in Wolf in White Van, then decided to explore characters born out of that title. A great opening line floated through my head. This is an alternate version of the title as inspiration. Or they may say, I had this weird dream. Stephen King keeps a dream journal. Or, I had this neat idea for a PI on a houseboat or a girl riding her motorcycle through the desert, or a klutz trying to cover a dance competition. This is starting with a character in a situation. John McDonald's Travis McGee is a PI living on a houseboat. I don't know about the girl or the klutz. Do you? The writer may say, there was this book or film, and I hated how the characters were developed, or I wanted to put a new spin on the story, so I decided to write my own version. This applies to virtually all the writers who reworked Alice in Wonderland as zombie stories, as well as many others who have explored new takes on the old classics. The famous mystery writer P.D. James took Elizabeth and Darcy of Pride and Prejudice and placed them a few years later with a murder at their beautiful estate in Death Comes to Pemberley. Jane Austen's Emma became clueless. How many times has Othello or Romeo and Juliet been retold? Romeo and Juliet itself is a retelling of the Greek myth about Pyramus and Thisbe. Or the writer may start with a metaphor, which I did for this book. In the introduction, I compared characters to houses. You'll soon encounter another metaphor comparing ideas to something else being born. Or the writer may say, this photograph intrigued me. Ransom Riggs collected old photographs that intrigued him, which eventually led to Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. On her website, storylines.com, Robin Storey shares the amusing statement by Robertson Davies that I don't get them ideas. They get me. Storey goes on to share that characters were taking residence in my head and nagging at me constantly until I wrote their story. In his blog, Where Do You Get Your Ideas?, Neil Gaiman says he used to lie when people asked this question. He lied because people were disappointed when he told the truth, that the ideas came out of his head. Here's Gaiman's wisdom from that blog. An idea doesn't have to be a plot notion, just a place to begin creating. Plots often generate themselves when one begins to ask oneself questions about whatever the starting point is. The place to begin, the what if, the idea that pops up, the seed that plants itself in the fertile dirt of your brain. That seed might have been planted years ago or yesterday. All that matters to we, the writer, is that the seed breaks its husk and transforms into a seedling reaching through the soil for the air and sunlight. All we have to do is let the idea come forth, feed it the air and sunlight, let it grow its stems and leaves, and soon it will flower and fruit. The seed for one book may not look like the seed for the next book. You may have a handful of seeds that all look exactly the same. When the ideas push out, they appear identical, with the same stems and seeds, but the flowers and fruits can be very different. As a writer, our job is to help the husk come off the seed, give the soil whatever nutrients that the seed needs to germinate a beginning plant, and shape it into the form it needs with roots and leafy stems that will power it to emerge from the dirt into the air and sunlight. So, the seed is in the dirt of your brain. You have multiple seeds there. Grab the one that you want to work with, the one that keeps popping up whenever you think about writing. What next? Well, where do you want to start? Template? Character interview? Type of character? Sketching out a scene? All of these are valid approaches. Whatever sparks ideas is all that matters. The creation of more ideas is all that matters. Wherever you start, your fertile dirt brain will quickly decide your approach to the story. Central character, evil confronted, perspective, genre, length, and more. Let it flow. Don't stop it. Discovering characters presents quite a lot about developing characters. Here's another metaphor, or three. Discovering your characters will be like entering a vast country, or moving into a strange neighborhood, or traveling along a road you're not quite certain about. Your characters will reveal to you, the writer, certain things that they would never want revealed to anyone else. As a writer, you can commit to keeping their secrets and dark desires and past traumas and hopeful dreams, or you can blast them into the world through the medium of story. It's your decision. As a writer, everything is your decision. That's incredibly freeing and scary and fun. Thanks for listening to The Right Focus, a podcast for writers at all levels, hosted by Emma Lee from Writers Inc. Books, assisted by Remy Black and Edie Runes. Our focus is productivity, process, craft, and tools. Music is licensed through Audio Jungle, called Background Music Loop. Its creator is Alexander Polishchuk, known on Audio Jungle as Plastic 3. The music comes in different iterations. Show notes and resource links for this and other episodes can be found at therightfocus.blogspot.com. Write to us at winkbooks@aol.com when you have questions, comments, and speculations. We will try to answer you as quickly as possible. By the way, we will not mind your email address. That's rude. If you find value in our content, share with your writing friends or write a review. We're small beans here without the advertising budget of the big peeps, and you can make a difference. And whatever occurs, write on. Welcome to The Right Focus, a podcast for writers, newbies and veterans, and everyone in between. We're hosted by Emma Lee with the assistance of Remy Black and Edie Runes, all from Writers Inc. Books. Our focus is productivity, process, craft, and tools. Each episode lasts as long as it takes to fix